The conquest of the Seven Kingdoms by Aegon Targaryen is a pivotal point in Westerosi history, with the years themselves defined by the time before and after the conquest. Aegon would forge a dynasty that would span centuries and forever change Westeros. The Targaryens are the last of the Valyrian dragon lords, whose empires span most of Essos, in part due to their mastery of dragons. Daenys the Dreamer, the daughter of Lord Aenar Targaryen, had prophetic visions of the destruction of Valyria and the fall of the Empire. Many thought her mad, but Aenar listened to his daughter's warnings. However, some believe Aenar was merely exiled. Aenar relocated the family, along with their 5 dragons, to Dragonstone, where they would remain for the next century, until his descendant Aegon Targaryen's gaze turned to the warring lands to the west. The doom did come to Valyria, and shattered the peninsula 12 years after the Targaryen exodus. This left the Targaryens the sole survivors of the broken empire, with the world's last dragons now under their exclusive control. It's commonly put forward that Aegon never stepped foot on Westeros before the invasion. However, strong evidence suggests he visited the Citadel in Old Town, among other places. Some speculate this was Aegon attempting to negotiate a more peaceful conquest, and could explain the absence of the Hightowers for a vast majority of the war. However, this is just pure speculation. For clarity, the year of Aegon's conquest is seen as 1. However, this marks the date of his second coronation by the High Septon at the Starry Sept in Old Town. Therefore, the date of Aegon's landing and his first self-coronation would be 2 years before the conquest. The first action of what would become the War of Conquest came when Harrenhal, the king of Isles and Rivers' great fortress Harrenhal, on the bank of the God's Eye, was nearing completion, spreading fear of further conquest. Last Storm King, Argilac the Arrogant, in fear of Harren, proposed an alliance to Aegon, offering his only daughter Argella in marriage, as well as lands. Aegon refused, stating he already had 2 wives, his sisters Visenya and Rhaenys Targaryen, following the Valerian practice of polygamy. It had also become common practice in Valyria to marry brothers to sisters, valuing that aunts and uncles to nieces and nephews. The intent behind the custom was to keep the blood of Valyria pure. Some speculate this could be linked to dragon riding abilities. It said Aegon married Visenya for duty, but Rhaenys for love. Aegon instead offered the hand of his best friend and rumoured bastard brother, Orys Baratheon, in his place. Argilac took the offer of a base-born bastard as an insult, and no accord was reached. The Storm King sent Aegon's envoy's hands back to Dragonstone in a box as a reply. Aegon called his banners and gathered a council alongside his sisters, after which ravens were sent to the rulers of the 7 kingdoms. They informed the rulers there would only be one king in Westeros, him. Those who bent the knee would keep their lands and titles, and those who would not submit would be destroyed. The conquest officially began just over 100 years after the doom of Valyria. Aegon, Rhaenys and Visenya landed amidst 1,600 men alongside their 3 remaining dragons, Vhagar, Meraxes and the largest, Balerion, at the mouth of the Blackwater Rush, atop 3 near hills. Atop the tallest hill, a wooden moat and bailey fort, dubbed the Aegon Fort, was constructed. This site would eventually become the capital city of Aegon's kingdom, King's Landing. Upon his landing, Aegon had the support of 3 houses, Celtigar of Claw Isle, Massey of Stone Dance, and Balerion of Driftmark, the house of his mother. The Valerians share some descent from Valyria, with the trademark silver gold or platinum white hair and purple eyes. House Rosby yielded their castle to Rhaenys atop Meraxes. Meanwhile, Visenya pacified House Stokeworth, setting fire to their keep with Vhagar's dragon flame. However, Aegon's first challenge came from Lord Darklyn of Duskendale and Lord Mooten of Maidenpool, who with a joint force of 3,000 men began their march south. Orys Baratheon took the fight to the superior force, whilst Aegon attacked from the skies with Balerion. Both Lord Darklyn and Lord Mooten were killed in the battle. Darklyn's son and Mooten's brother yielding their lands and swearing their swords to the Targaryens. On his return to the Aegon Fort, Queen Visenya placed a Balerion steel circlet studded with rubies on her brother's head, while Queen Rhaenys hailed him Aegon, the first of his name, king of all Westeros and shield of his people. Aegon adopted a red 3-headed dragon on a black field as his banner, following Westerosi customs. Not everything would go smoothly for Aegon and his sisters. The Targaryen fleet, commanded by Daemon Balerion, were given the task of taking the port city of Goldtown in the Vale of Arryn, supported by Queen Visenya and her dragon Vhagar. The Arryns' scrambled together fleet managed to defeat the Targaryens, killing Daemon Balerion in the process. Visenya burned the Arryn fleet with Vhagar as a reprisal. After defeat in the waters of Goldtown, Aegon marched northwest to Harrenhal. The king was ambushed twice on the south bank of the God's Eye. Aegon successfully defeated the first in the Battle of the Reeds, but sustained heavy losses at the Wailing Willows, when two of Harrenhal's sons stealthily crossed the God's Eye and attacked Aegon's rear. However, Aegon's dragon Balerion attacked during the retreat back across the God's Eye, burning all the longboats and Harren's sons. Harren called his banners to defend Harrenhal, but the River Lords rebelled under the leadership of Lord Edmund Tully of Riverrun. Harren was now badly outnumbered, with the king taking refuge in his supposedly impregnable stronghold. Under a banner of peace, Aegon met Harren at the gates of the mighty fortress. He told Harren to yield, and he would remain lord of the Iron Islands, with his remaining sons ruling after him. But Harren's arrogance would be his end, putting his confidence in his strong and tall walls, claiming dragonfire could not melt stone. That night, Aegon descended from the sky, burning the great castle with Balerion's dragonfire, along with Harren and all his remaining sons. He named Edmund Tully Lord of the Riverlands, and sent the melted and warped swords of Harren's Iron Men back to the Aegon fort. While Aegon dealt with Harren, the greater part of his force, commanded by Orys Baratheon, accompanied by Queen Rhaenys and her dragon Meraxes, crossed the Black Water Rush, heading south for Storm's End, where King Argilac Doradin had called his banners. Word of Harren's end had reached the Storm King, as he ordered his men north to meet Orys in open battle. Due to Rhaenys' reconnaissance, Orys fortified a strong position atop the hills of Bronzegate. In what would become known as the Last Storm, Argilac attacked the Targaryen forces during a raging gale. The Storm King and his knights broke Orys' line on the third charge, taking the upper hand, only to be faced by Queen Rhaenys and Meraxes' dragonfire. Orys offered the Storm King a chance to yield, but Argilac cursed him and drew his sword. Orys Baratheon slew the last Storm King in single combat. With Argilac now dead, the remains of his force threw down their weapons and fled. Argilac's daughter, Argella, shut the gates of Storm's End and declared herself Storm Queen. However, the garrison disagreed and delivered her to Orys' camp. Orys married Argella, choosing the sigil and words of House Doradin for the new House Baratheon. Aegon named Orys Lord of Storm's End and Lord Paramount of the Stormlands. Again, the swords of the defeated were sent to the Aegon fort. After the burning of Harrenhal and the death of Harren the Black, Aegon sent Queen Visenya to crack Claw Point. The lords knew they had no chance, and laid their swords down at her feet, making them direct vassals of the Targaryens in return. Thanks for watching the video. Check out part 2 down in the description, or click on the link in the end card to continue the story of Aegon's conquest.